Thank you, my friend. Congratulations to all of you. I hope to be able to ask each of you some questions, but I do want to stay within my my time limit. Let's start with Ms. Clark. You've been nominated by President Biden, served on the federal district court, which means, of course, that the Court of Appeal is going to review all of your decisions. What is the appellate standard of review for question of fact?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I have not worked on an appeal in my 14 years of experience. I believe that it is reviewed based on abuse of discretion would be this.
No, it's clear error.
Clear error.
As the federal district court judge, you're going to have a lot of discretion on determining facts. How about if somebody appeals one of your decisions and they say you made a mistake on the law? What's the appellate standard of review?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Again,
You're welcome.
I mentioned, I have not worked on appeals. If a question like that came before me, I would thoroughly research the law. I understand that there's de novo review, abuse of discretion, and clear error are the different standards.
Okay, but you don't know today the answer.
Thank you for the question, Senator. It would be
welcome.
something that I would need to research further.
Okay. How about a mixed question of fact and law? What's the standard of review on that?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Again, my understanding are that the different levels of review are de novo, abuse of discretion, and clear error.
Well, but that's a question of law and fact is different.
Thank you for the question, Senator.
You're
Again,
welcome.
in my 14 years of experience, that is not an issue that has confronted me.
Okay. All right. Well, you've been nominated for the Southern District, I think. Is that right?
That is correct.
So you'll see a lot of securities cases?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what SEC Rule 10b-5 is.
That's a rule that deals with fraud. I have not litigated a securities matter. If I were to confront one, I would thoroughly research Second Circuit and Supreme Court precedent, and I would apply the law to the facts.
Ms. Clark, you've been nominated to the Southern District of New York. It's where most of our securities cases are litigated. And SEC Rule 10b-5 is about as basic as you can get. You want to take another crack at that and tell me what Rule 10b-5 does?
Thank you again for the question, Senator. I regularly confront new issues of law in my practice, and when I do, I thoroughly research the issue.
I know you're going to thoroughly research it, but are you telling me today you don't know what Rule 10b-5 is?
I only have that basic understanding.
Okay. All right. Judge Slaughter, I'm sorry. Let me see here. Judge, you're on the Superior Court of California?
Yes, Senator, thank you.
Right, okay. I see where you've done a lot of speaking about diversity, which I support. Is the Superior Court of California, in your judgment, systemically racist?
Thank you for your question, Senator. That is a question, I think, for policymakers. And as a sitting judge, any matter that could be an impending or pending matter, I cannot answer that.
Let me stop you, Judge, because I've heard this song before. I will stipulate that I don't want to ask how y'all going to rule on a case. I'm just trying to get to know y'all, and I just want your opinion. You're there now, so you've had some experience. Do you think it's systemically racist or not?
Thank you for your question. As a sitting judge, I cannot prejudge issues, and that's the type of issue that could come before me as a judge. But I can't tell you the methodology that I would use, and it'd be similar to the nearly 8 years.
Let me ask you this. You're not going to answer the question, Judge, and I really think that's a mistake. That I know y'all are coached, and I get all that. But I really think it's a mistake not to answer stuff straight up and to hide behind this business of, well, I'll research the law and all that. And I get it. I mean, it happens in Republican administrations too. But our job is to try to get to know you. Do you think that America is mostly good or mostly bad?
Thank you for your question, Senator.
You're welcome.
Mostly good. I'm very proud to be in the greatest country.
Okay. All right. How about you, Counselor Gonzalez?
I have no question that it's mostly good, Senator.
Okay. Let me ask Ms. Clark.
I agree. And working for the Department of Justice and representing the United States was a great honor for me. It's mostly good.
Okay. Fair enough. Let me ask Ms. Franklin and Ms. Williams a question. Your jurisdiction, let me be sure I get the title correct. Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board. I got that right? Your jurisdiction is pretty broad, isn't it?
So the jurisdiction is broad in some ways in that the board has oversight over counterintelligence programs across the intelligence community with regard to privacy and civil liberties, but it's focused on counterintelligence or it's focused on counterterrorism, not all privacy and civil liberties issues.
Right. Okay. I think this is a very important board, but I'm sitting here thinking, we spent 3-4 years with some, not all, I'm going to emphasize that, but some, not all members of our FBI and our Department of Justice selling the Steele dossier. Does that embarrass you?
So, Senator, I think, there have been 3 Inspector General reports with regards to some of the things that went on, and I think that the recommendations in them are a good recommendation.
Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Wayne. Do you think the Steele dossier is true?
Well, Senator, I have no basis to believe it's true or either way.
You don't have an opinion?
I mean, I don't have any factual basis to know whether or not I do. From what I've read, it sounds like there's some concerns with the way it was procured.
So I don't understand. Yeah. Do you believe it's true or not true?
So I haven't read the Steele dossier, but from the news reports, it sounds like there may be falsehoods in it. But again, I don't have personal knowledge of it.
Ms. Franklin, do you have an opinion on whether it's true or not true?
I also have not had access to read the dossier, but I can say that I share your concern.
Yeah, but you know if it's true. I want to understand where you're coming from. Do you believe it's true or not true?
I believe that the Inspector General of the Justice Department found significant problems in 3 reports, including 17 significant errors or omissions in the FISA applications regarding Carter Page.
So you believe it's not true?
I believe that the Inspector General found these errors and omissions which are highly concerning.
Do you agree with the Inspector General?
I find the Inspector General's report very convincing, yes.
Okay. So you don't believe the Steele dossier is true? Why is it so hard for you? Oh, tell me what you think here. That's pretty basic.
I would turn to the errors and omissions that the Inspector General did point to, which were significant, and I know that Congress has attempted to take steps to address those.
Well, here's what I'm getting at. I mean, I can tell y'all don't want to answer, and I really regret that. I mean, this to me it's not political. It was these allegations. that turned out not to be true. It doesn't matter who they were about. But some members of our federal government put the full force and weight of the power of the office behind this dossier. And it didn't matter who they were. And I can't believe you can't agree with me that it's not true. I mean, there have been 3 inspectors general reports. Where was your agency? Did anybody at your agency stand up and say, wait a minute, before we make all these allegations on the basis of the Steele dossier, shouldn't we check whether they're true? I mean, FBI Director Comey sold this thing for 5 years. James Clapper was prepared to make a public statement that we're not sure if the dossier is accurate, and Director Comey called him and said, no, don't say that. Where were you guys at the board? You're supposed to protect civil liberties. You're supposed to protect privacy. Does it matter whose privacy and civil liberties are being infringed? Either one.
So, Senator, I wasn't at the board. I haven't been at the board yet, but I agree with you that that is exactly the role of the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board, right?
Thank you.
To ensure that the privacy and civil liberties of Americans are taken into account, and to make sure that our intelligence agencies are being completely forthright and truthful with the decision.
Thank you for that. Well, you were there, Ms. Franklin, right? You weren't there?
No, Senator.
Okay, well, when you both get there, I wish you would talk to your colleagues over there. They ought to hide their heads on a bag. They're in charge of protecting American civil liberties and privacy, and it doesn't matter who you are. And they sat there sucking on their teeth like a bump on a log and never said a word. I'm done. Thank you for your indulgence.